Toe pulls are one of the bread and butter exercises for learning how to balance a handstand. One of the advantages of this exercise is that you are going to be having an easier time placing yourself in the exact position that you want to be balancing from. It's easier to avoid getting into more of a banana shape or an exaggerated banana shape. To get away from the wall, and I'll demonstrate and walk you through it in a moment, we're going to focus on using the push from the shoulders, which is basically this action, trying to push the floor away, and then also pushing from the heel of our hands to get away from the wall. I'm going to get up into a chest to wall handstand, but I want just a bit of distance to the wall, which is going to give me some more wiggle room for actually working on my balance. So about an underarm's length away from the wall, roughly speaking, is where I want to place my hands. So I'm going to get up on the wall, and once I'm in position, first the thing I want to do is try to place my hips right on top of my hands, and if possible in line with my shoulders. Might not be completely possible if you have stiff shoulders, but I want already from this position you should get the feeling of your feet being somewhat light on the wall. Then I'm going to bring one leg out more or less in line with the body. I'm just going to keep some light tension on my butt cheeks, in my glutes and in my abs. And once I'm in this position, I'm going to shift all of my focus into pushing tall from the shoulders and pushing from the heel of my hands. Now initially, maybe nothing really happens. Hopefully the foot on the wall starts to get a bit lighter. But if things are going well, maybe you'll start getting these small taps. And if this is happening, don't rush it. You're doing all the right things. You are actually starting to balance, just not fine-tuned enough for you to actually get longer holds just yet. But this is a great place to be at. Next stage would be that, initially you're probably going to be getting these small taps. Over time, you should be able to make these taps slower. Once again, what's making the foot float off of the wall is the push through the shoulders and the push through the heel of my hand, which is giving me these small floats away from the wall. So that's the main thing that's getting me away from the wall. What I can do to push myself back towards the wall if I start falling towards my backside is to push from my fingertips. After the initial pull away from the wall, and once you're starting to get a bit more time actually away from the wall and standing there, we want to be able to do most of the balancing actually from using and changing how much pressure we are doing through the fingertips. So the push through the shoulders and the heel of the hands is the main mechanism from getting off the wall. But once we're actually in a balancing position, the main way to balance is to adjust the pressure from the fingertips. And that is also the push from the fingertips into the floor is also how we will be getting back to the wall. Yeah, so foot in line with the body, push tall from the shoulders and into and through the heel of my hand. And once I'm out in the open, now it's all fingers that are used to keep the balance. And to get back to the wall, I'm going to push hard through the fingertips to get back. And that is actually the basics of the toe pull exercise. When working on your toe pulls, it can be very beneficial to think that you have these three levels. One is staying on the wall with the foot, but trying to get this to be as light as possible. And you can actually be balancing even though your foot is very light on the wall. Second level is taps, going back and forth. And the third and final level will be actually getting some longer freestanding holds, let's say 5 to all the way up to 20, 30 seconds. Because that allows you also to choose on the day depending on how you're performing. So even if you are able to do the longer holds, let's say 5 seconds on your good days, there will be some days and some sets where you perform worse and where it can be beneficial to then take a step down the ladder and choose to work on something that is just slightly easier for you. When progressing within this exercise, you could be looking for two things. One would be to increase the time that you're actually staying up and working on balancing. You don't want to go until you're completely collapsing out of the position. You want to only keep going as far as you can and for as long as you can, while still maintaining some quality in the work that you are doing. That leads us to the second way to chase progress here, which is to, within the time, without changing the time you're staying, or maybe even doing a bit less time, but increasing the quality. That could be the easiest way to explain that would be more time away from the wall, but it could also be better positioning, better corrections and more precise corrections, or just being lighter on the wall when you actually are in touch with it.